Woohoo! Welcome to Shifts and Giggles, where curiosity meets connection. I'm Beth Lees. I'm a lifelong spiritual explorer, a passionista, and a lover of deep, meaningful conversations. This podcast is all about getting to know wonderful people doing amazing things in the world in a fun and intimate way through interesting questions that spark laughter, insight, and those holy shift moments that change everything. So get comfy, open your heart, and let's dive into some real soulful conversation. I am super delighted to introduce you to my guest and dear friend, Michelle Giliberto, intuitive healer, visionary, leader, and CEO of Purely Resonance. Michelle is carrying forward the pioneering legacy of healers who share, transforming it into a cutting edge system of quantum frequency formulas that empower transformation on every level: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Her journey into the work began not in a boardroom, but in her own home as a mom searching for healing solutions for herself and her children. That path of love, research, and relentless curiosity led her to vibrational medicine, and to co-founding the nonprofit Epidemic Answers, and ultimately to guiding Purely Resonance into its next evolution. Michelle blends her background in communications, her training in Reiki, Theta Healing, and medical intuition with her deep dedication to research and development. She continues to create state-of-the-art formulas and tools to help people across the world reconnect to their innate ability to heal and thrive. One of the things I love most is how Michelle lives the truth that we all have intuitive gifts and that creation itself is the highest form of service. So get ready for a fun conversation that flows, get it, the water thing, flows with insight, resonance, and maybe even a few giggles along the way. Woohoo! Welcome, Michelle.
Thanks, Beth. I'm so happy to be here with you.
You're the bestest. So I know you've had a very interesting healing journey.
Yeah,
You want to give us the highlights, the lowlights, all of that kind of stuff?
sure. Yeah, it's been quite a journey, healing journey. I didn't know I was on a healing journey until I was about, I don't know, 30 years old or so. That's when I realized I was like smack dab in this healing journey thing. And
Yeah, that's about right. That's when it happens.
yeah, right? Yeah, just around then. Um, I had two babies at that time and who are now off in college, but at that time they were just tiny little ones and um they had a lot of real challenges with their health when they were really, really young. And that, of course, was the motivator because, we're not always super motivated to look at our own stuff.
Self.
Certainly wasn't. So, I had plenty going on physically, emotionally, didn't really have a strong awareness around that. But when it's your kids, it's like you'll do anything to help them. And so that was really what got me curious and looking for something more for them. And that was kind of how I got into this healing journey where I was really aware of it. They got me on that journey, but it was, and I always say this, I'm so grateful to my kids because they made me aware of my own healing journey. Like they're the ones who got me to pay attention and get on that journey. And it was kind of cool because like I feel like, as little souls, like once they realized they did that job, it was like, all right, we can kind of like let go of all this stuff and just move on. Like they did what they needed to do with me. And
It's so cool how our kids are
yeah.
our greatest teachers.
Oh yeah, like to this day they are. But yeah, they at that point they really got me interested in just thinking about things differently with physical health and what was possible there, but also kind of like how I looked at things and even just what's possible, right? They really opened me up to what I didn't even know certain things were possible. I didn't know about energy work in the way that I know it now. And that I really started to explore a lot with you, at TLC and studying Reiki with you. Like that was a huge eye opener for me of what was possible. And you made it really fun. So that was great.
If
Sometimes
it's not fun, I don't want to do it.
yeah, because like sometimes it doesn't feel that fun, right? And I work with a lot of clients who like, they're not having a great time in their healing journey. And I love that really early on for me. I was exposed to this fun side of things, that it doesn't all have to be so heavy, even when you're dealing with some pretty serious stuff. Like there can be a lightness to it and fun and just kind of like that wonder and excitement about it, that you're discovering something new about yourself.
Yeah, and curiosity. I think that's a beautiful way to look at things, is with wonder and curiosity, kind of like through the eyes of a child.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, I was about 30-ish years old and started to realize that like all of the aches and pains in my joints that I had, my body wasn't like really that normal to have at that age. And that I was fighting through so much fatigue, and all kinds of symptoms that really couldn't be explained, but I just would like gloss over it all the time until I had my kids. And all of a sudden, I was like hyper focused on the things they were dealing with and realized this doesn't have to be this way. It could be better, it could be different. And having that breakthrough really changed things for me, just to open up to like, even if you do feel kind of like crappy day to day, like that could be changed. You can do something about it. It's within your grasp. And that was hugely empowering for
That's
me.
huge. That's like a mind shift. That's more a mind shift even than a physical shift. So
Yep.
early on in your healing journey, you became aware of the power of the mind.
Yes. Yeah. And I didn't even, it's funny, it just happened kind of organically in different ways where everything was kind of nudging me that way, um, with my kids, because there just really wasn't answers for them. Like we were just hitting wall after wall. And so I started to explore outside of the paradigm I was in and like the things that were right in front of me and just asking a lot of questions. And people just kind of showed up. Once I asked the question, it was like, hey, do you want to know about this? And so the woman that I co-founded Epidemic Answers with, Beth Lambert, like she was another mom that I met at preschool, and we became friends. And she had like a wealth of knowledge about health and healing and all of what's going on, with kids especially. So she really opened up my eyes and introduced me to a lot of people.
And
And
this was a lot of stuff that wasn't on the main track.
nothing was at that time. I mean, this is a while back. Like now we live in a world where like you can get like gluten-free anything you want. And, everybody talks about, nutrient dense foods and sugar and all this stuff. But at that time, it was hard to find anything. Like you could go to Whole Foods and there was like one little end cap that had like three weird gluten-free foods. And not that that's the be all and end all of healing, but it was like a step, right? An awareness. And it just wasn't mainstream. None of that was mainstream. I remember even studying Reiki with you and talking about it. And like a lot of people had no idea what he's talking about. And I was so excited about it. I wanted to talk about it all the time. And it just wasn't like out in the world the way it is now. The
Right.
world has changed so much since then, and it's kind of a short amount of time, really.
Period.
I love it. I love that people are talking about all of these things now and realizing how much agency they have in their life because of all these choices they can make. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's way cool. So, how did you get into purely resonance waters, frequency waters? What is that all about? I don't even, I'm sure a lot of people out there are like, what?
Yeah, and I still get that sometimes, right? Like when I talk about it, like it's so different than even what's out there now as energy work and frequency and vibration. A lot of people are talking about that kind of thing now, which I'm really, really happy about. And when I found out about it, I knew literally nothing about it. Um, the way I came into it was one of my children had gotten a diagnosis of Lyme disease, and um, I was, of course, reading all these books about it, and talking to. We had an amazing doctor helping us go through all of that, but the treatments were just really harsh, and my kid had been through a lot of harsh things already, and I remember just crying, like I can't put them through another thing, like I don't know what to do. And it was through my connections at Epidemic Answers. I just happened to bump into another mom that I knew. And I was lamenting this, right? And she was like, "You need to talk to this water lady in New York." And I didn't know what she was talking about. She literally said that to me, but I could feel my heart expand. And I felt this like hope inside of me, like, whatever that is, I need to know. And that's all I knew. I just had this excitement in me, like, I want to know more. And so I contacted this woman. She kind of explained frequency water to me. I had no idea what it was still, right? And but I'm like, okay, I called the doctor, like, what do you think? Like, should I try this? And she's like, it's water. Like, I guess so. Like, it can't hurt, It sounds easier than the other things. Like, give it a shot. So we did. We tried it. And it was really interesting, Beth. I saw major changes happen that I'd been like trying to get to happen for a long time. And they just kind of like started to happen. And as a mom, of course, you're like, how does that work? What happens now? Does it go away? Like, I wanted to know everything. So I was calling this poor lady who gave me the waters like night and day. And I was like, I'll come, I'll like clean your bathrooms, I'll clean your office, like I'll do anything for you to like answer all these questions. Like I need to understand how this all works.
I love it.
And
Well,
so
because it sounds like it was the answer to your hopes and prayers.
it really felt like that, but just I'm kind of analytical, and so, I was really led by my heart to it, like, it was just a feeling I had, and I felt like, "This is it. This is right. I wanna follow this," and I just did it, like, I just trusted that in myself, and I followed it, but once I did, I was like, "Wait, what is this?" What did we get into here? Um, of course, I had to try it myself, and, um even though I didn't have the words around it at the time, I remember taking my first frequency water and just feeling that energy hit my field and knowing it was like touching all of these places in me that I just didn't really have any awareness on yet. And it just woke me up. It really
Wow.
opened me up to this whole new world. And so I just wanted to study it. That was all it was. As a mom, I'm like, I want to study this. I want to learn. At that time, if you asked me if I would be running the company that makes these things, I would have laughed. I would have been like, "You're nuts." I just, you know,
I'm
I just
just
want
I'm
to
just
kids
taking some waters.
taking some water. Yeah. And but it was just so cool. The more I opened up to it, I started to understand what it was about and how, the body is largely made of water. Like we are water and we're good with water. So if you use something that's water based, your body is kind of comfortable with that. It's just very organic and natural to do. And when you match a frequency, which we do that in the water, but if you go to a sound healing,
Yep.
it's a particular frequency. And like when you hear a song you love, and you hear that note or that melody and it like takes you somewhere, it makes you feel good or makes you feel something, it's the right match, right? It's just got
Yeah.
resonance with you. And that's really what we're doing with the water. We're precisely matching frequencies for a person, for each person that's going to give them that thing that they need. They tell us what they're coming for. Our job is to find the frequencies that are the match for them. Um, and yeah, I love that. I love the simplicity of it. And there's just really, it's so simple. Like there really isn't anything else to it. It's water and frequency, but
So for those people that know something about homeopathy or Bach flower
mhm,
remedies, right?
yep.
How is it similar and different than that?
I would say like the difference is that we don't, the only substance there is the water itself. There's no substance where like I love Bach flowers. I have them myself, but there's, there's alcohol in it and there's actual substance in there.
Right.
They also are kind of a frequency product, as is homeopathy, but there's just more substance to those things
Yep.
than what we have. It's pure frequency that's imprinted in the water, and water holds a charge well, so it'll hold the frequency stable for a long time. So that would be the difference, but I think they're similar because when you're using this product or a flower essence or something, you're looking for that resonance, for that right match. And so there's kind of like criteria that can help lead you there. You'll work with a practitioner, and, like if you have a cough, they're going to give you the particular homeopathic for that type of cough and that kind of thing, So we're similar that way. People tell us what's going on, what they're dealing with, and we just find that particular match for them. So it's similar in a lot of ways, but um, the substance piece is different. I would also say that because it's just pure frequency, it can go to many places. That's why it'll hit you on that physical level, a mental level, emotional, and a spiritual level. And that's really the fun part for me and for the practitioners that do this, is getting to apply a frequency to somebody's field and seeing like all of the places where it lights up in that person and what's possible. And that's pretty cool.
That's way cool. So how did you um understand that you or become a body intuitive or a medical intuitive, whatever the verbiage is for that?
Oh, how did I like come to realize I was going to be?
Yeah.
Well, um, I mean, I think I started to realize it with my kids, but I didn't trust myself and I couldn't really
Mm,
use that language around it. I mean, as my kids were dealing with stuff, I was constantly reading them really for their symptoms and having kind of an idea in my mind. Like I would have these like conversations with myself, like where one of my kids had these chronic ear infections literally every month for 2 years or something, right?
that's
And
painful.
it was painful and it was a lot of things, but I was like, this isn't bacteria. Like in my mind, I'm having this conversation and I'm thinking like it's fungus. And then I'm like, how do you know that, Michelle? Like, come from, and so I was having a lot of moments like that with them and just kind of tucking it away. But when I came to healers who share, right? Purely resonance before was healers who share. And I was asking all these questions of my practitioner. And then David Slater, who started the company, I started talking with him about it. And he was great. He was like, you're the mom, you are intuitive, which was a great message in and of itself, right? Because he's like, this is like within your realm to be able to do this. Um, but it was the day I talked to him about that. It was like, I wonder if they have something for ear infections since, we had done the Lyme. And he had these hours you could call in, like, when you used to call into the radio station and you'd have to keep dialing in and get a busy signal. He had this kind of thing going on. So I was there like calling, a million times and I got through and I felt like when you're going to win those concert tickets on the radio,
Exactly.
got through. And I got to talk to him and I'm like, do you have things for ear infections by chance? And he's like, well, what do you think is causing it? And I didn't expect that, but I was like, well, I had this idea that it was a fungus and I don't know where that came from. And I felt like really silly, but he was like, yeah, bingo, that's it. You're right.
How
So
cool is that?
I know it was like, I couldn't even let it in. I was in such shock. And even more so when I actually gave that water to my kid and the ear infections stopped. It was like, whoa, maybe there is something to this. So I started to kind of let it in a little bit. It really took repetition. It took a lot of experiences for me to just kind of get comfortable with the idea of being able to like listen for answers from somebody's body about what they're dealing with and that we could pick out vibration. Like that was totally crazy to me. I was like, I got to pinch myself. Like, is this real? Am I really? It was like, is this really happening? I mean, now, it's, gosh, 15 or so years later of doing it, like I'm way more comfortable with it now.
You're way more comfortable with it now. So what, like you talk about how everybody has intuitive gifts.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
what do you think gets in the way of people recognizing that or trusting their intuitive gifts?
yeah. I think it's a lot of experiences that they've had in life where and I think those experiences are kind of precipitated by conditioning in the subconscious, so there's like these patterns and programs that we might have inherited in our family or we picked up from people around us that we learned like this is going to be safe or this is not safe, and so we have this kind of conditioning and experiences that we kind of shut that down. Like I actually was a very intuitive kid, but like who wants to be super intuitive around a bunch of adults having like crazy life experiences? Like,
Nobody.
I want to know, earmuffs, shut it off, like that. That was a lot easier to do. And I don't think I'm alone in that. I think that most of us have had like little twinkles of those experiences and like some are cool and some are like, eek, like I don't know if I want this intuition thing being so active. But I believe human beings are innately intuitive. It's just part of the apparatus of the human system to be intuitive. But it's really like how much you want to do it. Like if you're interested in honing that kind of thing, if it's interesting to you, if you like it, great. Not everybody really wants to or cares to. That's okay too. But I think it's there. So if you want to open it up, it can be opened up. Because I definitely wasn't like using it always or, just like tapped on the shoulder one day and boom, I was intuitive. It's just like,
It wasn't like flipping a switch necessarily.
it wasn't. And I've met people who have had that experience. For them, it was like, either they had an experience in life that like just kind of shook them into that, or it literally a switch was flipped and they just had it all there. It wasn't like that for me, but we're all different.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like it's kind of like energy healing. Like anybody can do energy healing, right?
Yep.
And the people, some people probably have more of an inclination towards it. It's kind of like being a musician, I think.
Yeah.
Everybody's musical, everybody can sing.
Hmm.
Some people can sing better naturally than others, but I think the people that are passionate, have a passion for those things, spend more time and energy honing those skills. So then they just, they're better at it.
I totally agree with you. And like the most poignant example that ever happened to me to understand this happened at TLC when
Really?
yeah, at the Purple Palace. Yes. This it totally drove it home for me. When you used to do Reiki circles at
Hmm.
TLC, and I had just become a Reiki master. And, just in my mind and my conditioning, it's like you have to study and apply yourself and work very hard to be good at things, right? So that's the mindset I was coming from. And it totally got blown out of the water at a Reiki share because I remember being in the room and you had a bunch of people there, and some people had been attuned to Reiki and some hadn't. They were just there trying to like check it out, see what it was about. And then you split us up into rooms and we all had to like work on each other. And I have to tell you, I remember being in a room with a couple people who had never given Reiki. They've never had it. Like it was their first day there. It was amazing. The Reiki that they gave was phenomenal. I could still feel it today. Like when I think about it, how good it was. And I was like, wow, this is just in all of us. Like anybody can do this. And I had that visceral experience of it. It was really cool. And that was like at the beginning of my journey. So, like it's really kind of guided me though in like my understanding of this stuff.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I do. I feel like uh it's not necessarily about training. It's about allowing and being open to being a conduit for the
Mhm.
energy. And sometimes that's easier if you're a beginner.
Yeah.
You don't have any, this is what it should feel like. This is, like you're not wrapped up in your head about it. You're just an open vessel for the energy to flow.
Yep, totally. It's
It's that
true.
beginner's mind thing.
Hmm. Yeah, we keep trying to get back to that, right?
Exactly. But I think that's healthy. That's where curiosity and wonder come into it, to like having an open mind and an open heart about things.
Mhm. Yep.
So if you could give everyone listening one resonance treasure water for their journey, what would it be
Hmm.
and why?
This sounds like your question of the day.
It does, doesn't it? I'm infamous for my questions.
Yes, you are. I mean, so we have over 10,000 frequency formulas for all kinds of things.
10,000, that's insane.
Um, I know, right? Like, well, because there's so many different people on this planet with different configurations of energy. So,
Yeah.
like, we're always coming up with new things. And having to pick one.
Well, you
Um,
can pick two or three or four.
well, all right. So, one of my favorite, really favorite formulas. I have a lot of favorites, but one of my favorite ones is called A Place for Me. And
Hmm.
it is one that I've used in a lot of readings. I've used it myself, and it's for that feeling of like, is there a place for me in this world? Like, do I belong with the people I'm with? Like, if you kind of feel outside of things or alone at times, or, like the world's changing so much, and like a lot of people are kind of rethinking like where they fit geographically, you know, the people that they resonate with. I love that frequency because it really reminds you of who you really are, and that there is like just who you are. There is a place for you, like you belong here. Your unique vibrational signature is needed on this planet. And so it's like a very grounding formula, and it clarifies a lot for people.
And
Uh,
it sounds like it's comforting also.
it is. It is. Yeah. That's one that like people love that one. They love friendship and warmth. That's another great one is, like I've had people use that one when they've moved to a new place and they're like looking to like just create a life in a new community, or I don't know. That's a really nice one too. Um, Another one that I love, it's called Loved, and it actually it works on a lot of different levels, but it just reminds you the unconditional love that's available for you. And people often do say with that one that it just helps them feel kind of held and like they can let down and relax a little bit. And I think people could really use that one right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, that one I really enjoy that one. I've used that one, and it's one of my favorites. So
That's beautiful. Um, what's the first thing you do when you need to shift your energy?
the first thing I do. The very first thing I do when I need to shift my energy is I go through this little exercise that takes about 60 seconds to do, maybe, of just connecting to pure consciousness. I always go back to that because, like, if I need to shift my energy, it's probably because I'm dealing with something, right? Like whether I'm triggered in some way or challenged in some way, and I want to just get grounded and centered and connected in myself. And I learned this through theta healing, which I've studied extensively, um, and mainly for the purpose of remembering who we are and what we're capable of. And I think that's one of the great things about that modality is it has like a simple way to do that. And so I'll do this little technique of just getting grounded, centered in myself, and connecting to pure consciousness.
Hey,
Because
can
then,
you do that for us quick now?
yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And it's like,
Hmm.
you know, I've over the years being in this world now, um, you try out so many things when it comes to energy, and there's a lot of cool candy out there to try, right? And it's fun. And I realized, like when you're working with intuition or psychic abilities, like there's different kind of levels to pick up messages or guidance from. And some of those levels can have like some kind of distortion. It's kind of your own programming coming back at you. And you
Mhm.
kind of know it because it's limiting, right? Like if the guidance is like, I can't do that. I'm not capable, like I can't have that thing I want. I can't create that thing. I can't have that job I want because I don't have the skills. Like that's not your intuition. That's your programming talking to you. And I've done that a million times, right? But like when you go to pure consciousness, you're always getting the most loving, most clear, most expansive answer. And it might be like, "Oh, you want that job? Here's the path forward." Right? Here's what you need to know to get from A to B. So I love doing that. And that's really what I do. I do that before readings. I do it before working with clients. Whenever I do it pretty much every day. So,
That's
and,
awesome.
and it's quick. Like we do it in the membership a lot. So yeah,
Yep.
we can do it. So let's do it. All
Let's
right.
do it.
All right. So yeah, I like to close my eyes just so I can kind of tune into myself. And the first thing I like to do is just to start feeling my feet on the ground and connecting to the earth. And you can do that whether you're like, on the ground or not, but just imagine a loving energy coming from the center of the earth and filling up your body. Just feeling energy come all the way through your feet, up your legs, filling in all the nooks and crannies. And then we're just going to imagine and just create in your minds being in a beautiful ball of light. Just kind of put that image together, seeing yourself in this beautiful ball of light. Imagine floating through many layers of light, different kinds of light, and just floating up through those layers until you come into a tingly white light. And there you are, just in that pure consciousness energy. And what we're doing here in this energy is just accessing that theta brainwave, which is a meditative state where we can access the subconscious, where we get to see through the eyes of pure love, and we get to consciously create whatever we'd like to create. And while we're here, I like to ask to be filled with unconditional love, just to get that extra dose of love that's available. So while we're here, let's just turn on that faucet and imagine a faucet over your head, just pouring unconditional love into every cell of your body. Just feeling filled up by that, feeling what it feels like to be able to receive that. And it's just totally natural and easy to be filled up with this beautiful love and light. And there you go. So once I do that, quick and easy, it's pretty, puts me into the right state of mind to do whatever I need to do or to meet life in, whatever challenge or thing I'm dealing with. Kind of resets.
Yeah, I'm blissed out. That didn't take very long.
No, it doesn't take long, and anybody can do that. Anybody can do that kind of thing too. It's kind of like Reiki, in that it's just available to all of us. And when I first studied theta, one of the things I loved about it that I learned, and this has been documented, is that like we spend about the first 7 years of our life mostly in a theta brainwave. So when people are like, I don't know if I can do that kind of brainwave. I'm like, it's just like wired into your system. You actually go into a theta brainwave like multiple times a day. You just don't realize it, but like you're already doing it, and I feel like that's really important for people to know is like the things they think about intuition or, you know, being able to work with energy or whatever, like that they can't do. It's like you're probably already doing it and not aware. And that's really fun. I love doing that with clients is helping them become aware of like how they're kind of already doing the stuff that they wish they could do. Because once you realize that, you're like, oh, I know what that feels like.
Right.
Know what that moment feels like. And then it's like more easy to replicate it.
I love that. I'm blissed out, girl.
Good.
Um, what else, what else do people need to know about you?
About me?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. What do they need to know about me? Well, I mean, I kind of live and breathe my work, as you know. So, like, if you're hanging out with me, we're probably going to talk about frequency. Um,
I
in
would
some
say so.
way. Yeah, but like, um, yeah, it's like blurry lines with my work and my life. Like I love living a life of frequency and conscious creation and like weaving that into just like the everyday moments of life. Um, Luckily, most of the people around me are cool with that.
They are.
Like I think too, it's like my life started like, kind of like bumpy, I would say, like a really bumpy kind of childhood and awkward. And I didn't know what I was doing for a long time. And um, coming into all of this, it's like I don't know. I was just like this regular person, mom, like just doing everyday kind of stuff. And like, it took me a while to realize like energy work and intuition is in the everyday kind of stuff.
It
It's
is.
like, it just is like, when I say like, oh, my life is frequency, that's actually true for all of us. I just have a lot of awareness on it now because of the work I do. But, um, it's an everyday kind of thing. And so it's like, of course, and anybody could do the kind of stuff that we do, Reiki, energy work, intuition, all of that. Like if you have an interest in it, pursue it because it's fun.
It is fun. I love it. Where can people find you?
They can find me at purelyresonance.com. That's the best place to connect with me. We have email on there so you can like reach out, ask a question. We're small business, so even though like I do work with people all over. We have an office in Europe and everything, and I do work with people all over, but I'm very hands-on. So if you reach out and ask a question, I will see it and respond. um and that's where you can like, if you want to try out readings, we have different kinds. We have the membership, which is kind of fun because
Really fun.
the stuff we're doing today, like we do that in real time. But yeah, find me at Purely Resonance.
And you can get waters there too.
You can get the waters there too. Yep.
Imagine that.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Michelle. We're gonna have to do this like a gazillion more times, but
Let's do it. At
let's
least a
do it.
gazillion. Let's do a gazillion. I
I
love
love
talking to
you.
you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening in. Find Michelle at purelyresonance.com and stay tuned for our next episode.